Zelete, thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you all. Why is the vital border between Niger and Benin still closed even after months of high-level diplomatic talks? On paper, both nations claim they want peace, free movement, and economic recovery. A joint committee of experts has even drafted a security agreement and outlined a schedule to reopen the Gaia border step by step. Yet, when you look at the bridge connecting the two countries, it remains firmly shut from the side of the Nigerian. The reason for this deadlock finally became clear following an interview given by our all-in-all, the savior, the protector, the unifier, General Abdurrahman Chiani, marking 3 years of governance under the National Council for the Safeguard of the Homeland. While official diplomatic statements often speak in general terms about security guarantees, General Chiani revealed the precise condition holding up the process. Today, we are diving deep into what is really blocking the reopening of the Niger-Benin border, the security dilemma facing both nations, and what this standoff means for the alliance of Sahel states and the future of regional unity. To understand Niger's position today, you have to first look at where the country stands 3 years after the CNSP took power in July 2023. In his anniversary address, General Chiani highlighted a clear shift in Niger's national strategy. Niger has pivoted strongly towards complete sovereignty, military autonomy, and economic self-reliance.
So for us, the opening of the border as such is not the fundamental act. What milestone needs to be set so that this border, once opened, is a border of the people and not of an individual? That's the difference, because when the border belongs to the people, a puppet individual cannot stand up and say, close it. The people will oppose that closure. And these are the measures we want to take so that in the future, whether it is a Nigerian president or a Beninese president, they cannot stand up and say, close this border for me. Because when they say it, they will face all of Dundee mobilized to oppose the closure of this border. And it is for this purpose that we have set up a committee that has thought about it and made proposals to us while respecting the framework. And that is why we have welcomed, I would say, with awareness of the enormous challenges that the new Beninese president will face. His Excellency Wadagni, that is why we welcomed him in Niger, to show that the bond between the people is above the bond between the heads of state. And that's why we are doing everything, so that once this border is open, no individual, no matter how powerful they believe they are, can close it on a whim. And you agree with me. A lot of water has flowed under the bridge. There are traces. There are wounds that will need to be dressed and properly treated before making the irreversible decision to open the border. Both parties have shown of availability of commitment, but there are prerequisites. And this prerequisite, it is up to President Wadagni of Benin and myself to give them meaning, a response, so that the border is definitively and irreversibly open.
All right. So for now, Mr. President, we don't have a specific date for the opening of this border.
I told you there are prerequisites. Everything we do after careful consideration, ensuring that the interests of Niger will be preserved, just as the interests of Benin will not be overlooked. Ensuring that our common border will no longer be subject to the whims or mood swings of individuals. Whether it is the property of the same people, of a brotherly people for thousands of years. Here is the answer I will give to this question, and I hope that the Nigerians will understand what I mean or what I just said, as well as the Beninese. Of course, we understand the desire on both sides to see the border immediately opened. But I say it and I repeat it. That is why we are working. And we take this opportunity to congratulate His Excellency President Wadagni, who has taken this historic first step. Historic, as you know, unlike the predecessor, who was known for his willingness by his will to destroy Niger, quite simply. So let's not rub salt in the wound.
Over the past 3 years, the military government has focused on key structural changes. 1. Food security. Major irrigation and agricultural projects have brought Niger closer to food self-sufficiency than it has been in decades. Energy independence. After facing severe power cuts when neighboring Nigeria suspended electricity supplies following the 2023 coup, Niger invested in internal energy infrastructure, turning a major vulnerability into a self-driven solution. Resource sovereignty. Niger revised its mining code to ensure a larger share of revenue from its mineral wealth stays within the country. However, security and regional diplomacy remain Niger's greatest challenges. Niger's strategy is now tied to the alliance of Sahel states, alongside Mali and Burkina Faso, a coalition focused on mutual defense, unified military operation, and a foreign policy free from traditional Western influence. This brings us to the core issue, the border with Benin. During his interview, General Chiani made statements in both French and Hausa. While the French version spoke broadly about wounds, prerequisites, and insecurity guarantees, the Hausa version was far more specific about what Niger is demanding. Niger's condition is clear. Niamey wants foreign military forces, specifically French contingents relocated away from northern Benin. Niger believes these troops should be pushed further south, down to cities like Barakou or so they are nowhere near the shared border zone. Furthermore, Niger wants joint military patrol along the border, conducted strictly between the Benin Army and the unified forces of the Alliance of Sahel States. For Niger, this is a non-negotiable security requirement. Niamey fears that foreign military bases near its border could be used to launch intelligence operations, destabilize its territory, or support armed groups operating in the Sahel. This demand creates a significant diplomatic paradox. Benin's official position has consistently been that there are no foreign or French military bases in northern Benin. Cotonou maintains that its military installations in the north are strictly national facilities, built to protect its own territory against armed groups spilling over from the Sahel. This creates the main bottleneck in the negotiations. How does Benin relocate military forces or bases that it officially claims do not exist? If Benin moves these forces, it will be seen as an admission that foreign troops were stationed there all along. If Benin refuses to make any changes, Niger refuses to open the border. As a result, despite both sides setting up expert committees and agreeing in principle to open the border in phases, starting with light vehicles, the Kaya border bridge remains locked. While the border situation seems stark, regional developments show that diplomacy is not entirely dead. First, Benin's government, led by President Romuald Wadagni, has actively pursued dialogue. Wadagni's visit to Niamey in June showed that direct lines of communication between the leaders are open, and AES leadership has accepted him as a valid negotiating partner. Second, we are seeing practical security cooperation elsewhere in the region. Burkina Faso, a core member of AES, has already conducted joint security patrols with the Army of Benin in sensitive border areas. This is an important detail because it proves that being part of the Alliance of Sahel States does not mean an absolute refusal to work with non-AES neighbors, just like Niger maintained diplomatic outreach to Algeria, during tensions between them and Mali. Burkina Faso is willing to engage in practical border management with Benin. This pragmatic approach shows that individual AES nations still maintain sovereign control over their bilateral relations, provided those actions do not compromise the core security of the alliance. Beyond official government positions, two major factors complicate this crisis: internal hardliners and external geopolitical interests. Within both countries, there are firm voices, often referred to as hawks, and push against making concessions. In Niger, headliners demand that every security condition be fully met before any border gate opens. In Benin, decision-makers are reluctant to compromise their nation's diplomatic choice of foreign partnership. At the same time, analysts point to external actors who benefit from continual division in West Africa. So, it is entirely left on the two nations at this point in time to then sit down and decide, because the condition that Niger has given, they said, is non-negotiable. So, what is going to be the outcome? Because it's like Benin is now caught in a trap. If they move them, you understand how things are going to be. So we just hope that the two nations finally decide to agree on issues and open the border so that Africa can unite, because the more we divide among ourselves, the more it benefits other people. What are your thoughts in the comment section? We are the only ones. What are your thoughts? We are the only ones that can set ourselves free. United we stand, divided we fall, and united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's colonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we make Africa great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world, in Africa, West Africa, and in Niger.